Hello, and welcome to another episode of Potstilled Live. Brendan, how are you? Good evening. It is fantastic to have you. What's going on, sir?
Not too bad. Good to see you. Thanks. Good to be on the show once again.
Exactly. So saying you're probably our most repeat surprise guest on the show. So it's great to have you as a co-host for the evening. So it's fantastic that you're able to join us.
I was going to welcome you on to the Brendan Carty show there for a wee second, Matt.
And are you joining us from the distillery up in Clone in the Mourne Mountains, are you?
No, when I need to make a video call, I come down to the house because up there the signal's quite choppy. It steps in and out, so we're like, right, okay. So I thought it's more reliable here.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear. At least you won't be dropping out on us then. But I suppose you're up in County Down, quickly becoming the distilling capital of Ireland, really, at this point, between whiskey and gin distilleries. I don't think anyone has more saturation than you lads do.
Is that right? Yeah, even Cork.
Well, I don't know. There's a few lads in Cork, but between yourselves and about, 5, 6, 7 other distilleries making gin, poaching, whiskey, everything. Exactly. I think you guys might have it pegged ever so slightly.
Indeed, yeah, definitely do. There's some lovely stuff as well, just happening southeast of the county over in Ecklanville. You know, those guys have been working their magic from day one as well. And I'm always excited to hear what's going on there.
Absolutely. A few people dropping in. Dave Cummins, who's hosting with me last week, saying good morning to you lads. He's clearly just waking up on the farm there, Dave. Must be calving season for you, huh? Juliet dropping in as well to say hello. Delighted to have you on, Juliet.
Juliet from South Africa.
There you go. Fanula dropping in from Belfast. And fair play to both Juliet, Fanula, Dave as well, and yourself, Brendan, for a fair few shares about the show coming up. We have actually a good few people dropping in to say hello. Mikey Donnelly saying hello, watching. Jamie Cotter giving lots of slagging to you, Brendan. And in fairness, I think you've given him a lot of slagging when he's been on the show as well. So we're looking forward to a good evening talking about all the Irish whiskey news and crack that's going on in the industry at the moment. Здравствуйте, Val. So hello from Waterford. This is going to be, I suppose, a fun-packed night. We've got a lot to talk about. One of the things I really love about this show is when I have a co-host on, a different co-host every week. Everyone brings their own different things they want to talk about on the show. And Brendan, I'm delighted that you came in with so many ideas this week. So we're going to have a lot of fun talking about that. A lot of Irish whiskey news, a lot of things happening throughout the industry at the moment. It seems like there's a release of something super cool pretty much every 10 minutes in the industry at this point. But we do, as always, need to say a very big thanks to our sponsor for this evening, which is McConnell's Whiskey, Irish Whiskey, which I have a lovely bottle sitting here. And Sarah Kennedy, their Narn brand ambassador, who orchestrated all of the work, dropping down all of the bottles. And as she says there, loving the T-shirt, a lovely T-shirt that came with it as well. I am an absolute very easy person to please. If you have a nice quality merch T-shirt, or look at you, 2 bottles, huh?
And I'm shush, don't tell anybody.
But
I pretended I didn't have one. But I didn't get a T-shirt, so
explain why I have about half taken out of mine as well. So it seems like the two of us are enjoying them. I was explaining to Sarah that a nice quality T-shirt or a trucker cap with a bit of mesh, and you'll have me wearing it, no bother. But yeah, these are our sponsors for the evening. McConnell's Irish Whiskey, spelled without the E, as you'll see all around the branding there. This is something that kind of came to my attention last year at Whiskey Live Dublin. And I knew nothing about it. It was on a stand with... I think it was with an agent at the time. It was on a stand with, I think, apple-flavored Alabama whiskey, which was just confusing to me at that. And I saw this sitting there, and this bespoke bottle, and I just thought that this was stunning. And after getting to taste it, I contacted Sarah and wanted to have them on the show. So I'm a big fan of this, as you can see by the almost empty bottle I have sitting on the shelf. But yeah, very cool bottle. You see that it's a bespoke bottle, which in itself is pretty cool. Having, I suppose, Brendan, you'll know, and having worked in the industry, bespoke bottles are expensive as hell, and a huge amount of work has to go into these for the molds. A nice little Belfast coin sitting right here as well. And as Sarah's telling me today, there's a lot of kind of like hidden little facets of design thrown into the label to kind of pay homage to the original brand back in 1776. What are your thoughts on it? They're from up your neck of the woods, Brendan.
I think it's great, Dave. I know I'm sort of between Belfast and Dublin, but I went to university in Belfast, and I always was aware of its potential. It was studied for 8 years in the art college down in the city centre, in architecture, and there was nothing really in Belfast. It was still, suffering from a legacy of the past. But then all of a sudden, it started to get a bit of energy just as I was leaving. And I think now we really needed a distillery, and Belfast Distillery has such an integral part of the past of the city. So it's great to see, its revival. And so McConnell's is a brand as well. It's part of the bread and butter of the city. And you can see the guys, their branding as well, that they're really owning Belfast, and they're owning the street culture and the whole urban fabric. And that's becoming part of the building of the brand. And even with Sarah, for example, she was working on, those early really cool bars that were set up. She's been involved in the bar scene, and now she's going to be front and fore of the brand in the country going forward. So yeah, I'm very excited. There's a lot of new brands coming out, but I think McConnell's is one of the ones that I feel a bit of a connection to, and I'm very ambitious for.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like, I always say when you're launching a new brand, you've got to break and really own that home market. If you're not the whiskey in the home market, well, I suppose if you are, it brings a lot of gravitas and veracity to your brand, and I think that's something that they're owning quite well. Relaunching a historic brand and kind of trying to do right by it, I suppose, is a feat in itself. But they're very much owning that space, which I think is quite cool. Now we're getting a lot of messages in. They were getting a lot of messages in on a four-legged front to sidetrack from McConnell's for a quick second, because I do have my glass in front of me here, and you'll see me sipping on it throughout the show. It's actually a lovely glass that McConnell's previously sent me, so I'm enjoying it out of this giant.
I didn't get one of those either.
You need to start your own Facebook Live, Brendan. But I'm going to be sipping on this throughout the show. We're going to talk about McConnell's a little bit later on as well. But we were getting questions of the four-legged variety, and my little wee pup has just arrived back in the door from her little walks. So this is hello. This is Indy, our little border collie. Oh, hello. And they're wondering where the clone cat is, Brendan. Probably shouldn't put them on the same time.
I know. This is her going out time. She gets out at 8 o'clock every night for a few hours, so she'll come back in later on. But yeah, we've got the cat's starting to get legs as well now across the country. We're getting some embarrassing photoshops of myself and the cat going around that aren't actually real. It's all Photoshop, by the way.
Yeah, I something about you, a cat, a still, and some flowers. Is that going on some menus around the country?
Exactly, down in Cask in Cork, they've just let out their the most recent menu, and they put huge amounts of energy into their menus. So Linda and Andy down there are brilliant at what they do, and so we actually put a little sneak release of our rum down there. Our rum doesn't exist yet, but the guys got a hold of it, and we had a beautiful cocktail out of it, and yeah, it's banging. So I suppose it's probably made us put the boot down now and probably release it sooner rather than later. Yeah.
And what kind of cocktail are they making with it?
It's got all sorts in it. It's got like I forget the name of it. It's so creative. It's got hogweed seed in it as well. Linda is a botanist as well, so you're working with her expertise down there as well. So I would have to get it out again. I think I sent it on to you, did I?
You did send it on to me. You can check back in the WhatsApp messages. No matter how many treats I gave Indy, she was still away from me. Clearly, her dinner sitting in the bowl there is a little bit too much of an interest. Perhaps we'll see her on a little bit. Did you happen to find your
Yeah. So it's actually called Panger the cat. So Panger is named after an old Irish poem. So it's cologne rub, Campari, crab apple, bilberry, hogweed seed, and it's carbonated. The guys are absolute geniuses down there. I'm just going to go down there one earn to get a few of the cocktails. So yeah, well, a big affiliation with Cork. It's what a city. They're all headbangers, but we love them, and they seem to enjoy Cologne as well.
Exactly. I was going to say the natural connection between Down and Cork. It's bread and butter really at that point.
Indeed.
You can hear Indy in the background making an absolute racket smacking around her water bowl. So apologies as that happens throughout the show. But speaking of Cork, I do want to introduce our special guest for the evening. We usually have a surprise guest on with us in the evening times, and I can see him cheering to be noted in the background. He thinks I can't see him in the back, but I can. One of the coolest kind of movements that are going on at the moment on the online world. Please allow me to introduce Mr. John O'Donovan from irishmalts.com. What is going on, John? How's it going?
All good. Thanks for having me on.
Not a problem. Where are you tuning in from, John?
So I'm in Kerry now. So as you know, Matt, I'm not back in the country long, a month. So thankfully I'm out of quarantine. So I'm in this new office. So I feel a little bit out of place. I don't have a fancy whiskey backdrop like you guys. You got a McConnell's t-shirt. You got a Cologne t-shirt. I got something. But I want to get a shout out to McConnell's and to Sarah, because fantastic brand. I haven't gotten a chance to taste it yet, but I will be very soon, as you can see.
Well, we're hoping you're going to be breaking open that bottle while we're chatting to you. But it must be an interesting time for you, John, to come back to Ireland now and to be a Cork man sitting in the kingdom. How does that feed the soul?
Quite frankly, not good. No. Kerry is a beautiful place, and I'm only an hour and a half away from home. So if I need to get up and down, it's very easy. So I'm settling in well. I'm very happy to be back home and enjoying the weather as well at the moment.
Well, good. Yeah, actually, it was an absolute scorcher of a day up here in Dublin. I actually spent most of my day working through casking warehouses, and I think I could have done without a bit of the heat, but I think the rest of the country would have cursed me for saying that.
Hot in there, I'd say.
Exactly. But John, anyway, so go on. Everyone, I suppose, at this point would know you from irishmalts.com. You guys are kind of owning that hard to find special release, single cask, one-off release part of the market. So what is 3 Drams? What are you here to tell us about, and when is it launching?
Okay, well, thanks for that, Matt. Thanks for the nice words. 3 Drams is something we've been building up for the last, I would nearly go as far as saying, a year. You probably recall we did a launch with Dingle where there was a deconstruction in that one of the batch 5, which went down pretty well. That was followed with a Zoom call with the master distiller Graham, which was great. We had planned this before the pandemic, and the pandemic hit. Ran into the usual problems that I think we all run into with bottling and labeling and the rest. So probably finally launching it a little bit later than we wanted to, but we're very close. We are doing what we're calling the final preview. So 3drams.com will launch in November. It'll be basically a whiskey subscription. I stand to be corrected. There's a couple over in the UK for Scotch. I don't see a monthly Irish whiskey subscription out there, so I'm about to say it's potentially the first monthly Irish whiskey subscription. We'll be featuring everything from the likes of Brendan up there in County Down, all the way to the everything, deconstructions, new whiskies, old whiskies, expensive whiskies. We're very excited to get out there. It's been building up for a while, so
if I'm a consumer and I go and sign up to the 3 Drams subscription service, and I pay my money and it's great, and what arrives at my door every month?
We do have a little sample here where I put it. So we have this kit, which is made out of cardboard. It has no glue. It has no plastic. I know the guys in Cologne are good for stuff like this as well. It's entirely recyclable.
Hold it up a little bit there, John.
Yeah, sorry now. 1 second. This is actually the dingle one that I have here still. So it's here.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Looks really well.
It comes in the post every month. I better get the one we're doing tomorrow. Tomorrow we're coming out with the final preview. This one is limited as such because it's not the subscription. It's our last test run to see what people think. And you get that. There'll be a members area on 3drams.com. If you like what you taste, you can buy the full bottle. Because look, as you said earlier in the piece, there's so many whiskies and spirits coming out. And Irish whiskey is generally not that cheap. So if you have an opportunity every month to sample 3 of what at least we believe are interesting before you make a purchase, I think that's good. We'll have all sorts of things in there, like free shipping for members. There'll be different subscriptions, bi-monthly, quarterly, gift backs. You can buy one time. So we're just so excited about it because I think it's a new thing in the space. I think, I think it's pretty good. Tomorrow we'll go out with this final preview. What we have in there, which is not out there at all. So we have dram number 1, brand new blended malt from Lambay, which is really, really nice. It's at the moment actually exclusive to our website for the next couple of weeks. So dram number 2, and this has not been seen by anybody. So kudos to Potstilled Live. This is a single cask from Clonakilty, specially bottled from our website. It is, you see there, 265 bottles in a cognac cask, and for all the guys, it's our cask strength.
Lovely.
Mm-hmm. So that will be coming to irishmalts.com soon. But if you want to try it out, we'll have it right here as dram number 2. See the wonderful different colors. So dram number 1 is the Lambay. We got number 2, which is our nice single cask, and we got number 3. And I visited Morris O'Connell in Killarney. What a setup! Batch 2 of the Liberator tawny port finish. Phenomenal color on it.
Lovely.
So that's the concept. We can go from deconstructions to different whiskies to new whiskies. There'll be a bonus dram if you stick with us through the year. There'll be a bonus dram where we could have new make spirit in there. We could have whiskey that's not for sale to the general public. So I mean that's the concept, Matt. That's the concept.
So I'm getting a lot of questions in here. People, literally, the comment section is exploding right now across Facebook and Periscope. First question is from Juliet. Can people from South Africa sign up to 3 Drams?
Ooh, it's very difficult for us to send stuff to South Africa. Initially, unfortunately, Juliet, no, but we are constantly opening avenues. Like we've had queries from Australia as well. People saying, please open us up to Australia. We'll pay for the shipping. I think, Matt, it will launch in Ireland, the UK, Germany, a couple of other European countries like the Netherlands and France. And outside of that, I think we'll make it available to America as well. But other than that, they'll be the initial countries. They'll be the initial countries. So it still has quite a wide, kind of wide audience. But South Africa, not yet. Unless she knows some secret, easy way to send stuff to South Africa, she can share it with us afterwards.
We'll ship it into Lesotho and then just smuggle it. That'd be great. Shane Carty wants to know, will Cologne be getting into the boxes sometime soon?
Definitely, yeah. I'm too stacked, Shane. Already agree.
I love that. Brendan's probably not even asked yet. He's like, yeah.
We didn't get the memo.
Definitely. Look, we've worked with Brendan from the start, and
Telepathy.
I'm loving the clone journey. Like I'm loving it. So I'm very happy to be part of it. So
And the 2 stacks is getting in there too, isn't it?
Huh?
The 2 stacks is going in there as well.
2 stacks will be going in there, and we will have everything. I mean, specifically stuff like that, which is possibly harder to get. Yeah, looking forward to it. We have the rest. November and December is already planned out, but we'll wait till November. In November we'll have a few other goodies as well, which you'll see on treedrams.com, the website. So.
Well, speaking of which, allow me to pull it up. So if people go on right now, they can see 3drams.com. This is what they'll see when they arrive. So you've got a little bit of the information that's launching in November. You can also register your interest. If people register their interest, they'll be put on the mailing list to get kind of first information there. Isn't that right, John?
That's right. And for anybody who follows Irish Malts, we keep our emails kind of short and sweet, and we don't send too many, or we don't share email addresses. So if you get on there and register, you'll probably get the bones of 2 emails a month, maybe when we launch the kit. And then, did I even mention, Matt, the second part of 3 Drams is not just about, there's about 4 or 5 subscriptions for Scotch in the UK. You sign up, they're about 30 quid a month, and you get the drams to your door. That's the end of the experience. So with 3 Drams, in the middle of the month, every month, the same time, we'll publish the date later, there's an online tasting. We'll use Facebook Live, very similar to what you're looking at right now. So for this final preview edition, in about 2 weeks' time, we will have Sabina Sheehan from Lambay on to talk about this, where you can, if you're taking part at home, you can ask Sabina any questions about our new whiskey. We'll have the master distiller Paul Corbett on from Clonakilty to tell us all about that cask, and we'll have Sir Maurice O'Connell on from the Liberator to tell us about the latest batch and maybe how it differs from batch 1 and what are his plans. So like it's a kind of more than just a tasting club. It's a club where you get to really learn a lot about a lot of these new brands or old brands, as time goes on and as the industry grows. I think we need more things like this to try and help cross promote all distilleries and brands who are producing Irish whiskey.
Brilliant. No, you're dead right. You're dead right. And it gives people an opportunity to taste stuff, because sometimes, you can only afford 1 bottle every so often.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
you're busting to try something else, and you're like, it's the same as bottle sharing, only a bit more organized, and you're getting better quality stuff.
That's why it took us so long, Brendan, because we had to jump through a lot of hoops to make it.
Yeah.
We're not, to jump through a lot of hoops to make it, right and legal and proper.
Exactly. And the labeling but fair play. It's a testament to yourselves working through. You've jumped through so many hoops before, and it's not just as easy as bottling something up. It's
Jesus, that
revenue, and good on you. So you've done very well. It's exciting.
Here's example. Some people might be familiar with this. So you'll have your tasting notes right in front of you with the ABV, information on the whiskey, a little bit of a thing. This comes with the kit. This will come with the final preview kit. I'm very excited about it. I wish it wasn't limited, but because
just look at that again there, John.
Yeah.
The tasting sheet there. Okay, so you'd be able to, as you're tasting through it, is all the information there to be able to read through it as you're going along.
And along with the master distiller or the brand ambassador. So it's a full-blown experience. And then afterwards, if you like it, you come back to 3drams.com, where if you subscribe monthly, you will get free shipping on those bottles. So bringing the price down for people as well. So, that's what we're trying to do in general, not just with 3 Drams, but with irishmalts.com. We're trying to make things accessible. That was the goal from day one, to make these things accessible overseas. Little did we know we'd end up doing half our business back in Ireland. Kind of a bit of a silly oversight in one way, but that's the way it is.
Let me ask you a question. Where has the most unusual or furthest flung either request or sale that Irish Malts has received? Like, has someone in Tuvalu gone mad for cologne, or?
Cologne's been sent to Sydney with my friends out there as well. So Irish Malts shipped there safely.
And there was, I'm going to even have to maybe go into maps here. We have had some mad requests. We sent stuff all over the place. Let me think now. I mean, I reckon we probably sent Irish whiskey to almost every single country in the EU at this point, even the smaller ones. But there was one order in recently from a tiny place. You know, we get a fair few orders from places like Switzerland. You might never think it. 1 second now. Andorra. We recently sent Irish whiskey to Andorra.
I mean, that's pretty far flung.
Tiny little place up on the top of the Pyrenees. I mean, that's pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, I say there's an Irish pub in Antarctica, and they have to do they basically put in 2 orders a year, once every 6 months, for everything. Wow. For a fresh veg, soft drinks, beer, wine, spirits. And first of all, that logistics must be crazy nightmare. Yeah. You should try and figure out who the polar expeditions are going out there. Irish malt. That's the
hardest thing. That is by far the hardest thing that we do is figuring out excise lines and what carriers ship where. And we shipped to America, and that broke our back. We shipped to 21 of the US states, and it took us a while to get that nailed down. The EU, we ship locally out of the UK, Matt, as you probably know, and out of Ireland. So Brexit is an interesting one because we may have to move our European shipping to Ireland if Brexit goes wrong. Well, Brendan, is Brexit going to go wrong?
More than likely. Look who's in charge.
I need Brendan at this point. Hang on 1 sec there. No, I'm only joking, Brendan. Come back in. I'm only.
The Potstilled legal team sent me a letter today.
No, I mean, look, Brexit. Like for a business like ours, I suppose in one way we're set up because we have a business in the UK. So if you shop on, including 3 Drams, if you shop on 3 Drams or Irish malts, you'll always get your goods from us. But maybe getting the Irish whiskey over there might be where where it gets a bit more difficult from a commercial point of view to get it over there. And then, shipping to further afield. Like today, if you buy from us on irishmalts.com, you get shipped out of the UK. If there's no trade deal, etc., we'll move that to Ireland, and we'll ship from Ireland to Germany, which in one way is more natural. So,
I mean, maybe the Netherlands is going to be your new hub for continental.
Yeah. I've been looking at that as well. It's just perfectly located, and there are very good business people over there, I find, as well.
Brilliant.
That's very true. Brendan, Jamie is reminding you that it didn't take long for the legal team's alarm bells to go off there now.
Jamie, we know rightly. It's all right. They're watching me.
So John, if I'm a punter now and I sign up, you said it's going live tomorrow for 3 Drams.
Yeah.
What am I to expect tomorrow? What am I seeing? Like, what are the choices in subscription? How much is it going to cost me?
Well, yeah. So tomorrow you won't see that stuff because this is what we're calling the final preview. So our last test run before November, and we have the whole 3drams.com open. So this one will actually be sold via irishmalts.com. So it's the final test run. But like subscription wise, I mean, we have all that stuff finalized in November, which is only 6 weeks away. The moment we have 3 whopping whiskies lined up for us. So as long as the producers get them into the bottles on time, you're going to be very, very, very happy. But so it's going to be around 27, 28 euro a month for including delivery, that is. So, take delivery off that. It's going to be like 23 euro for 3 whiskies, 3 CL to your door. And some of those whiskies won't be, some of those whiskies will be single cask whiskies, which are not cheap, So we built it in such a way that it's not very profitable in the subscription for us, but because there's a members area and an option to buy with free shipping afterwards, there's a chance there for people to buy the full bottles. You'll be able to buy if you'll be able to buy a box one-off, you'll be able to sign up monthly, and if you sign up monthly, there's going to be a couple of goodies that come with it for free, plus bonus drams throughout the year. You'll be able to sign up, every 2 months, which is bi-monthly, or you'll be able to sign up quarterly, where you get a kit every 3 months. You'll always get access to the online tasting every month, which is, it's going to be the second Thursday of every month. And there'll be gifting options as well. So there'll be a little bit of merchandise and a few bits and pieces which we're going to keep for November. But there's going to be a lot of options there by the time November comes around. Tomorrow, if you buy into 3 grams, there's 250 kits. You get access to the tasting in 2 weeks' time.
And again, those whiskies are the Lambay blended malt, which is more exclusive for the next few weeks. You have the Clonakilty, was it a cognac cask?
Cognac cask strength, single cask. One thing about that one, right? Paul, the master distiller, has told me that. I mean, this is the second single cask we've done with Clonakilty, and the first one went down. So we're still getting good feedback on the first one, and he has told me that we're screwed if we want to ever collaborate again, because he said this is the best cask ever to leave their warehouse since day one. So I'm actually kind of proud of that, to be honest with you, in a way. So I mean, I can't wait for people to actually taste these whiskies. And also then the Liberator, which I think is an interesting. I think it's an interesting, brand. I think there's going to be a lot to come out of these guys, and this has 5 extra months on average in the Tawny Port cask. But the color of it is.
I am shit hot on the Liberator. I love the branding. I love the label. I love the bottle. And anyone who's seen my website, I had Liberator as one of my lockdown whiskeys of the month. Batch 1 was just stunning, and I cannot wait to dig into batch number 2. So I'm very excited to try that.
Am I right, Matt, in saying that was the first blended malt in the Irish category?
You're right with the technicality. They basically launched at almost the exact same moment that Pierce Lyons launched their Marriage of Malt.
Yes.
And I don't know which one literally was available for sale first. But if you just take them as a parcel deal, that was the first intentional blended malt, as far as I can figure out, in Irish whiskey history.
Amazing.
So lots of people say, like, oh, even the first organic Irish whiskey. There would have been an accidental organic Irish whiskey 200 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There has not been a blended malt in Irish whiskey.
So that means we have at least 3 now.
Exactly.
That's number 3, yeah?
Yeah, there you go. And there's going to be more and more of them, no doubt, coming out in months and years to come. I will say Brendan Pierce Carr has dropped in. Say, I'm looking very stylish with my half lip. And as I was saying to you earlier on, I am sucker caps, guys. Don't mind the hair, but you get something with a nice mesh and some branding. This is currently Sagamore Spirits in Maryland in the States. You have, if any brand out there has a nice trucker with a mesh, I wear them all of the time, and I wear them hiking. I take pictures of me overlooking hiking, and I will promote your brand if you have a nice trucker cap. Just keep me in mind, all right? Brendan, hint, hint. Anyway, so John, we're going to keep an eye out tomorrow. Do you have any idea what time we're going to be launching?
I'd say 9 a.m. I mean, if anybody is interested, we're looking to build maybe the biggest Irish whiskey tasting club that exists. That's not trying to take away from all the amazing whiskey clubs that are out around the country. They can come and join us, and we can all be one big club. But I would say 9 o'clock in the morning, we'll roughly put it out. And this one is, as I said, limited to 250 sets. We'll have an amazing online tasting. We did it on Zoom the last time. This is why we're doing these kind of soft launches. We'll do it on Facebook Live this time. I think it's more accessible for people. Zoom, as people know now, Zoom is more you're unmuting, you're muting who's talking. Whereas this format is brilliant for getting a message across.
And also people can join in if they haven't got the kit, so they can see what you're offering. They can see. They can also learn from the information that you're putting out there as well.
And the best thing I think is this is our second one, and I just love this. Even the color differentiation in each. You see the smallest bit of detail, but even the color differentiation just is inviting on its own. I don't mind I don't mind anything else.
Lovely stuff. Yeah,
looking forward to it. We'll announce all the details for the tasting for this edition in the coming week. I think it'll be the 1st of October, which is just roughly around. It's 2 weeks from today, yeah. So, Yeah, appreciate giving me the airtime. I couldn't pass up an opportunity to come on to the Brendan Carty show in a million years.
I love it. We're going to have to keep moving, so I appreciate it. If anyone wants to find out more, 3drams.com. That is 3 spelled out rather than the numeric 3. That's correct?
That's correct.
Perfect. Fantastic, John. Thank you so much for your time.
Right, guys.
We'll see you.
Best of luck, Brendan.
Thanks so much. All right, Brendan. Now,
listen to this. I don't know if you get that.
You were going to drive my dog mad. He heard you. She heard you doing it earlier. I thought it was like a cat or something. I'm mad. Actually, that is a good point. The top of this cork is the cork itself is bespoke, and I don't know what it is. It's kind of a metal or a tin, and it is the nice kind of what they call the harp of Aaron Brigade harp on it, which is quite cool. I do love this coin on the front of the bottle. I think it really pops off. But Brendan, one of the topics I said earlier, you came with a suite of topics you wanted to talk about, and I think it is time that we swiftly move onwards because we are firing through the amount of time we have online. You were dying to talk about Ecklanville Distillery, one of my favorite distilleries in the country. Kind of very quietly been producing away since is it 2013? They've been producing away.
I just thought, like you were asking me about what excites me at the minute, and it's not just because it's a neighbouring distillery, but like Ecklanville have been there from the start. They've had a whiskey brand from the very beginning. The Feckin Irish whiskey. They've had Dumbles for a very long time. They've been laying down their spirit. People don't realise, but Ecklanville have had their own whiskey laid down for 7 years. And the Dumbles brand, it will continue, but I know this much, that there is only going to be 3 more releases before they release their own spirit. So next year, we're going to hear about Ecklanville being released as an 8-year-old whiskey. I've tasted it. It's banging. It's lovely stuff. But in the meantime, we've got 3 more Dumbles, which I love. I don't know if you can see down here, but I've got a collection. The only whiskey that I actually collect is Dumbles.
So you have a bottle there, Brendan, if you've one handy.
Which one?
Which one you want? Which your favourite one? The Palo Cortado. Now, I got to try the Palo Cortado in cask, and I thought that was absolutely stunning.
It's lovely stuff. No, these are my collectors, and I suppose even just the standard single malt, the PX cask, like it's lovely stuff. Very hard to get,
and that label is stunning.
That's the 10-year-old as well, so I don't even think you can get that anywhere anymore. It's pretty pricey if you do. But so out of the 3 releases that they've got left, they've got there's another Rosso cask, and there's a Palo Cortado cask, and then there's another PX cask. They're all single casks, a cask strength, and then that's it complete. And then we're on to the real stuff. So sometimes you think things might be getting a bit quiet at Ecklanville, but it's not. They're always humming away, and they're going to be releasing some magic to the market. And I know from my own ambitions about Potstilled as well that they're making some authentic Potstilled that's full of different mashes. So they're not actually. I don't want to get too much into it, giving away trade secrets or anything, but they're basically, they have integrity as well. They're not fooled by the current GI drip that's been peddled out by the big guys. Sorry, that's in breach of the agreement, isn't it? I'll not say that.
The legal team's going nuts. But yeah, they do their own floor malting. So any malted barley that goes through their stills comes from their maltings and their farms. But their unmalted barley comes from their farms as well, isn't that right?
Yeah, indeed. And whenever you're in Ecklanville, if you're lucky enough to get up there, and the guys are brilliant, you can just stand there and you look out on the fields, especially this time of the year. Those lovely sloping hills, those drumlins that are characteristic of that part of South Down. And you've got just these lovely fertile grounds suitable for growing barley. And, they get the sun all year round, all day, because of the way they're located. There's no big mountains around it. So, yeah, they get this, and they get that wind coming off the sea that carries with it that salty air. So they're going to have a very unique, beautiful spirit that's coming. for me, that's what terroir is all about. You want to use that word.
There you go. Shane McCarthy has a question for you. He says, any word on what happens to Dumbles after the final release? Will they just kind of keep trucking on with the core range expressions, or does the brand kind of wither away? You're obviously not of the brand, but I know you were speaking to Jared today. Perhaps he gave you some insights into what might be going on.
I think Dumbles will continue. Dumbles, they've spent so much energy into bringing back Dumbles, so Dumbles will continue. But what's more important is that Ecklanville is going to be born, and that's what's really exciting. And there's a lot of work. Shane, Braniff, and Jarlath, and Graham, and the team are all on. Anne-Marie and Claire, Peter, they're all really putting in so much energy. And anybody who gets to know them and gets to chat to them, they're a real genuine bunch, and they deserve any credit that comes their way.
Absolutely. And it was funny, actually. I remember just after they opened the distillery proper, the visitor center, etc., up in Ecklanville, whatever year that was, 2016 or 17 or so. I went up to visit them with Sergius from the Irish Whiskey Magazine before the Irish Whiskey Magazine was ever even a thought in his head, I'm sure. And speaking to Graham, we asked him, would he ever consider double distilled? And I remember him being very defensive of his answer, and he was like, "Oh, there's great history," and and we were like, "No, like you're in old Cumber country. Like we assumed that you would be making double, like what I mean." The history of distilling in that area, thick, oily distillate, and I remember him telling us about what he called trickle distilled pot still. Back in the day, he was doing slow distillations, kind of he called like a 2.5 times distilled. And he had so many ideas coming into it. I thought it was very cool.
Yeah, he used to work for Carty Group as well. So when it comes to food engineering and food science, he's an absolute genius. So he's a huge asset to that team there. And but then there's also in between us and them, you've also got Hinch, and Hinch is just on about to start as well, and it's very exciting. So yeah, it's South Downs starting to get interesting.
So I told you, distilling capital of Ireland.
Yeah, and then there's Copeland further up north as well. And yeah, it's getting good.
Exactly. Mick McGuire is saying, why is Matt wearing his cap the wrong way around? And I mentioned this earlier, that I'd wear it the right way around, but one, they tend to look a little stupid the right way around on my head because my head's kind of big. And two, this is an American distillery trucker cap, and I love trucker caps, but it's the wrong distillery for who we're sporting tonight. But if any distilleries want to bribe me with trucker caps with meshes, I'm an easy sell. But yeah, Brendan, I suppose we're going to keep trucking on. I need to fill up my glass. I don't know about you. Probably a good moment to talk a little bit more about McConnell's Irish whiskey. I don't know. You were talking to Sarah a little bit earlier on, and I've had a few conversations with her about the brand. And one of the things I found that I thought was quite funny was that this label at the bottom, she was telling me, used to be doctors promoting, like general surgeons promoting Irish whiskey. And I hope she's still watching, because I took a bottle out of my collection. She was saying, oh, how funny it was that doctors used to do that. And I took a bottle out of my collection, and this is a Burke's Potstilled Irish whiskey from 1934. And on the back, this is the General Surgeon of Dublin's statement saying that this is I have determined the specimen of Burke's 3-star whiskey taken myself from stock, their warehouses. This whiskey is very pure article, no falsifying, excellent flavor, and gives of great health. This is a first-class whiskey, and that is from the Professor of Chemistry and Hygiene in the Royal College of Surgeons of Ireland.
Big pharma, eh? Good.
Absolutely. So that would have been very much a statement that would have been on bottles of the time. And as Sarah was kind of letting me know earlier on, that this would have been a statement of general surgeons, showcasing the belief they have in the whiskey. And obviously you can't do that anymore because, you know, healthcare professionals do not promote alcoholic beverages, no matter how much they'd like to, or we'd like them to. But there's kind of paid homage in almost the kind of type of script of the medical labels. But also she was telling me that this bottle is actually designed to look like a two-sided pill, exactly. Yeah, I'm trying to think of a classier word, but that exactly. With
Capsule pill.
Capsule, exactly. And you imagine the kind of the two different color tone tablets, and it's cool little homage to the old labels. And again, the very industrial looking brass metal on the front, which I'm kind of obsessed with a little bit, paying homage to the kind of the metalwork and the sheet work of the dockyards in Belfast. I just think overall, before I ever got to taste it, was a very big fan of the packaging. And actually, my friends, a few people will know MHW imports in the US. They were the people that got onto me and said that this bottle was the most beautiful bottle I've ever seen in Irish whiskey. So I had to go check it out at Whiskey Live. And I am a huge fan of the actual liquid itself, which is why I wanted to have them on the show. And I think I wouldn't have a bottle that was almost completely empty. 5-year-old whiskey, what is it, 24% malt and 76% grain, ex-bourbon matured. Sarah, please shout at me in the comments if I've screwed that up.
I'd say no, most likely Cooley as well, but you're not allowed to say it. But most likely from nosing it, I'm sure you could say that. That's probably come out of County Louth. Well, I mean, lovely stuff. It's nice, and it's nice to have that higher percentage of grain, you know. And blends are certainly starting to become more interesting, you know. And like, it's not just 40% either. They've gone for that extra 2%. So especially with that aroma that comes with grain, and there's a high malt content in there as well, you know. It gives it that nice texture as well, and carries a lot of those flavors through. So you're getting a good bit of wood spice there as a result. It really helps the blend.
I like this. This, when you like you said, the blends are getting interesting. This sets itself apart. It's not fiery. It's not astringent. Also, it has a great sweet, and I think the thing is, I really like about it. It has a very palatable sweetness. I like it because of the sweetness, but it's not like outrageously sweet. It doesn't make me lick my teeth with you know, like fear and disdain of my blood sugar level spiking through the roof. And I also have been corrupted through my years of living in the States. I love throwing a few cubes of ice into my whiskey as well. This goes fantastically with a few cubes of ice. And Sarah has said that it is, I was right with the ABV percentages, 24 malt, 76 grain. I'm a fan, and that's why I wanted them on the show. And
what we need to realize as well about McConnell's is the legacy about it. McConnell's isn't just a new whiskey as well. McConnell's was, in fact, Belfast was the powerhouse of whiskey back in old Ireland. Belfast is the biggest exports, the biggest creation of whiskey, and not Dublin, in fact, and particularly with grain whiskies. But McConnell's was an old brand. McConnell's, in fact, is the oldest recorded brand in the north. It's not Bushmills, it's McConnell's whiskey. So there's a legacy there that you want to realize. And
about 8 years on the younger side, or the older side of Bushmills, 1776.
There you go. Yeah. So that's interesting.
Well, we're going to be sipping on this throughout the show. If anyone has questions about McConnell's as we go on, let us know. In the Republic, its RRP is $38.50, I believe, going on in Celtic and other independent retailers. In the north, I think you're around £40. And again, Sarah, please prove me wrong at any point if I've screwed up my numbers. But no, I'm enjoying this. This one is one I'm going to be keeping an eye on for quite a while. But we do have lots to talk about and only a very, very small amount of time to talk about it. Brendan,
There's been a lot, yeah. Well, I don't know. The first thing we want to talk about is probably the biggest. We all love Potstilled whiskey coming out of Middleton. My favourite is Powers John's Lane. So whenever you're getting cast strength Powers coming out of Middleton for the Friends of Middleton, and that's organised by Ian Garrett and as well. And
well, hang on. Let's pause for a second. For those who don't know, maybe we're tuning in from California or looking back when we're in Japan. What in the world is Friends of Middleton?
Friends of Middleton is an organisation set up on Facebook by fanatics basically who get some sort of privilege from the distillery because of the mastery that is. There's a guy on Facebook. His name's John McDougall, by alias, of course. And he's got quite a bit of sway. And it's been launched at the minute through Carryout down in Killarney. Fantastic off license. It's a bit of a mecca. People tend to drive there. Just even if they're not going for the whiskey, they're in to have the crack with John Fleming. So, so it's a great place to go. And in fact, I think John from Irish Malts, who we were just talking with now, he's doing a lot of his distribution work out of there as well. So that's where it's being bottled tonight. So right now and packaged, right now you've got John McDougall down there with John Fleming, and they're packaging up the boxes and they're shipping it out to the Friends of Middleton. So this is a single cask. This is the first time this has ever happened. And I can't remember. I went and done the homework on it earlier. I told you the ABV and the number of bottles. Is it 204 bottles only?
204 bottles at 54.3%. 12-year-old, all first fill bourbon matured. Look at. I think you can see on your screen there. That packaging is phenomenal. Like this is
tasting this stuff, and I don't know. I'm actually getting married now in about 3 weeks, so I might just take the bottle with me and crack it open. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention I was one of the lucky people to get one. So,
which did not sway your thoughts on wanting to talk about this bottle, I'm sure. Yeah. But yeah, super cool. So basically, a Facebook page set up for enthusiasts and fans of the distillery have worked with the guys in the distillery, the likes of Jared Garland, the primo ambassador team leader in Middleton, to create a single cask offering. It literally says on the bottle, Friends of Middleton Distillery, which is just fantastic. I think it retailed for circa 200 quid, which I think
pounds, and a very reasonable postage from Killarney to County Down here, which was just under £6, just under €6. So an absolute bargain, for delivery. For fair play to the guys down there. So I'm ecstatic about that.
I think it's great. It's a win for the Cast Strength Crusade. It's a win for the guys of pure fandom and dedication of fandom, and also for a company the size of Irish Distillers being able to pivot and produce something quickly and in such a small quantity for a dedicated audience, I think is quite cool, because when you're that size, there's a lot of red tape, there's a lot of bureaucracy, there's a lot of people you have to convince. There's labels aren't cheap, the runs are tiny. Like that is in the bottling lines and of the massive quantity productions of Jameson and the rest of the Irish Distillers products. That was a drop in a global ocean, and they really did a great job of listening to the home market needs. And I think packaging is stunning, the idea is stunning, and the fact that the guys in the Friends of Middleton Distillery page got that over the line, I think that's fantastic.
It is indeed. See, that sort of grassroots marketing, though, it can't be bought. And there's the other big distillery up north. I wish to God they would do the same, because I absolutely love Bushmills, and I'd love to see more of this, interaction with, quality whiskey anoraks who deserve a bit of attention from these brands. And Middleton hit the nail on the head.
I do believe that there is a Friends of Cologne Distillery page set up as well.
That was nothing to do with me, but yeah, I'm allowed into it now, and I'm allowed to have the crack with people on it. So it's very nice of the guys for letting me in. It's actually called the Cologne Cult, but yeah, so it's good. It's for whiskey enthusiasts of Cologne.
Exactly. In fairness, though, Brendan, I don't think you can have a friends of page if it's set up by the distillery. I think that kind of completely defeats the point of the page. So at least.
Yeah, but they're also using our name, for Christ's sake. So yeah, we're allowed in. So, but look,
People
again, whiskey enthusiasts. Yeah, and you've got Paul Kane in there, you've got Matt Morrison from the States, and then you've got Ian Garrett from Dublin. They would be the main instigators in there. So it's great to have that level of that dynamic in there. And but those people have tasted our distillate and they know what's coming down the line, and they've put their faith in us. So it's good to see.
Exactly. Right. I'm going to quickly shoot through the next one just because we let John talk far too long, but I love having him on the show, so I have no problem with it. Teeling Renaissance #2 was released in the kind of last 2 weeks. 18-year-old single malted, the guys in Teeling. They are constantly coming out with some of the coolest whiskeys from their ridiculous stocks and stores. 18-year-old single malts. The Renaissance #1, I think, was a Marsala cask. Or no, it was a Madeira cask. This time around, it is an Australian Shiraz cask. And I think having Rob as the global brand ambassador, proud Australian man, he must be delighted with the Australian influence on the Teeling at this point. A decent amount of bottles, 9,000 bottles gone out there at 46%. But the thing I think everyone needs to talk about at this point is an 18-year-old single malt, 46% at €140 a bottle, which, as John mentioned earlier, Irish whiskey is not the least expensive category of whiskey in the world, and I think there's a lot of 18-year-old whiskeys out there or plus that are in mega stupid money. 40, I think, for an 18-year-old bourbon matured Australian Shiraz finished whiskey, I think you're in stunning price competitive category. I'm super cool. I'm super happy about that. And then it's in a beautiful bottle. It's in a decanter style bottle, big heavy stopper, big metal stopper, and in a presentation box. I think that's going to be very cool.
Tell you what, that's what you want to be tasting these bottles, but you can't afford to buy everything. But that's why you need to join Belfast Whiskey Club, because you're getting, affordable whiskies every week, every other week, and great crack to boot, and the expertise of. So that's where I rely on getting to taste these things, because I'm not always able to branch out.
Exactly, yeah. Liam Brogan, friend of both of ours, has just said cast strength Blackbush now. If you don't have Blackbush on your shelf, I think every Irish whiskey enthusiast in the world can say that Blackbush is one of the most underrated but also highly rated blend, highest malt content in the world of Irish whiskey. That is such an amazing whiskey, such a staple.
Blend.
Go check out Potstilled Radio if you want to hear all the background on how they make it. They make their grain whiskey in it is actually pot still mash first, so there's no maize, it's all malted, no malted barley. That is a Irish whiskey enthusiast's whiskey. And I would love to see that at a cask strength. I think that'd be really cool. And then Gareth Spence just saying he tried Blackbush at 60% as special tasting in 2016. And oh my God, amazing. That sounds fantastic. I want to see that.
Good man, Gareth.
We are running down the time very, very quickly. But I do want to talk about one more. We're sidetracking from whiskey a little bit. It is an Irish whiskey distillery, but it's another subscription club, Blackwater Distillery, with their Tasters Club. A different idea to Irish malts, where you're not getting samples, but they came out with a delivery service where every 2 months you get 2 bottles, a gin and a spirit, for I think 40 quid a month or 185 quid for a year's subscription. And the first offering was a Jaffa Cake gin and a limoncello out of Waterford.
Wonderful.
They do some of the coolest things.
I know. Peter, he's a genius.
A bourbon without the word, you know what I mean? Like they can't legally call it a bourbon, but they literally made a bourbon on like Tuesday.
Because John Wilcox is from the States and he's got that whole mash bill enthusiasm, which is he's just a bundle of energy. So he pairs very well with Peter. And you can see Peter started writing blogs again lately, which is good. He's toned down a bit, but they made an absinthe at one stage. Do you remember that? And they come up with the Barry's Tea gin as well, which was an absolute roaring success. Probably sold more gin that year than actual Barry's Tea. Absolutely brilliant ideas. So fair play to him, and lovely guy, and he fights the good fight too. So
they have the Wexford strawberry gin. They have the Barry's Tea gin, and they have the Cork Tenora gin as well. I think, or is it a spirit or is it gin? Like neon orange Tenora, which I think is quite cool. Yeah,
that's right. Remember that?
Ooh, Jaffa Cakes, absolutely. They were saying on the website.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. They were saying on the website that Jaffa Cake Gin Fizz is their like lead serve for that experimental bottling. I think a Jaffa Cake Gin Fizz would be made. I also thought Jaffa Cake was a brand name, which I'm not even half sure how they got to be able to use. But I'm not even.
It's owned by a number of brands. Yeah.
Oh, listen. I think this service is for if you're a person that wants to expand the palate and try 200 ml bottles, something bigger than like a sampling club. This is one of the coolest things I can think of. I'm a huge advocate of the crazy. I don't know if you know the guys in the Shed Distillery and PJ Rigney. He often calls himself. He describes himself as the curious mind of PJ Rigney. Well, down in Blackwater, the like out there mind of Peter Mulryan. I would pay money to tap into his thought process like that. I just think this is going to be super cool.
Yeah, they're a great team. They really are. You know. And what does he do every day? Goes out at lunchtime, jumps in his kayak, and goes down the river, back up again.
Down the Blackwater, is it?
What a man! Like we went down to visit him one time, and he was driving us up to the new distillery from the old one, and we couldn't keep up with him. He was flying up that road. Beautiful country, you know, beautiful part of the country.
So Brendan, if you're going to leave people with something from tonight, what is it? Is it the fact that you've been made into a cocktail menu for making rum in County Down?
Yeah.
Is it your love of the new McConnell's bottle?
Yeah.
Is it Friends of Middleton managed to get the world's first cast strength powers out of Irish distillers? What do you think the top story of tonight should be?
I can share them with my dilemma, if that's all right. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place. To be released, you know, the next bonded experimental series. There's only 2 left. We want to get them done as well because they're nearly ready, and one's ready and the other one's nearly ready. Or do we release our cask-aged Solero method dark rum? Or do we just release them both? I'm afraid of releasing things too close together because people can't, you know. So it's a jump between the two. So if anybody wants to let me know in responses or an email or text, release them just whenever, or they'll be too close together, or that's the dilemma.
And Brendan, just to give a good plug before you go, you have 2 new seltzers out.
Oh yeah, we've got the Mojito Seltzer as well, and the Blackberry Bramble. So they have arrived in Bond in the Republic yesterday. So Celtic Whiskey Shop are going to start flogging them now around the country. So if anybody wants a more, you're not allowed to say. So we're not allowed to say that they're healthy. You're not allowed to advertise alcohol as being healthy, but 70 calories, all
lower calorie alternative.
A lower calorie alternative, all natural, by the way. 5% alcohol, so they blow the socks off you without tasting like alcohol. They're very light, they're very refreshing. So we've got a Blackberry Bramble and a dark rum Mojito. The Bramble is made for our own gin that we make on site, and the Mojito was made for our own rum that we make on site. So yeah.
Brendan, did you see that? Gareth, I have him up there on screen, says space the rum and the whiskey out. Sarah from McConnell's wants the rum out now. So
maybe we'll release the rum and then we'll release the whiskey in a while.
Well, Mick definitely wants whiskey out before the wedding. So
I need the cash.
Exactly. And we have Jeff Humphreys coming in from Minnesota saying, I recommended him McConnell's over a month ago to purchase in the States. So I'm glad I'm staying true to what I've been saying and why this bottle is so drained. But Brendan, I have wholly enjoyed having you as a co-host tonight. I'm delighted. I'm delighted of all the stories you brought to the table. I'm delighted of all of the insights you've brought, and also to learn about some of the little things you're releasing. A lot of people are chiming in on this whiskey and rum debate. If you guys want to check it out, go into the comments on Facebook, because I simply can't pull up how many people are commenting. Thank you so much to John from Irish Malts. Thank you as well. And then also check out 3 Drams tomorrow. Sign up to the newsletter if you want to be first to know what's going on with the guys in 3 Drams. To everyone who's been watching in, a huge thank you. There's tons of you who've been commenting. For everyone else who hasn't been commenting, I know that Facebook was down earlier, Instagram was down earlier. There are people who've been chiming in, watching through Periscope, trying to get around Facebook being crashed. If you're watching back on YouTube, wasn't that crash terrible? God, it's great that it's gone now. For all of you who are in the middle of the crash, it sucks. But thank you. And most importantly, to the guys in McConnell's Whiskey. Super cool bottle. Brendan, hold up your bottle there as well. You've got your half empty one as well. But look to it too. It's an absolute skill. Thanks very much to the guys at McConnell's. Appreciate the t-shirt. I'm going to remind everyone about the cap. If anyone's got a nice mesh trucker cap, I'm bribed easily. Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate the interaction. Thanks very much to everyone else. And we are in the process of figuring out. There's kind of an awkward set of weeks coming up based on Thursdays. So keep an eye out, and we'll let you know. It's either going to be the next the next episode is either going to be next week or in 3 weeks. We have to figure out what's the easiest way to set this up for Potstilled Live. So keep an eye on the skies, and we'll let you know. And thanks very much, guys. Much appreciated. And good night. Slán go fóill.
Slán,